Welcome back to my tongue-tied journey. I'm Lily Rothrock, and this is week, oh God, it's been too long since I've made you guys a video. I don't even know what week this is, but this is a 3-week roundup. And what I have been doing and what I'm going to talk about in this video is supplemental complementary therapies to go along with orofacial myofunctional therapy to help prepare me for my tongue tie. I've gotten a lot of questions about, what I'm doing and why I'm choosing the different things that I'm doing. So I just wanted to make this video about that and also give you an update on the exercises, the myofunctional therapy exercises that I've been doing to prepare me for my release. I got my release day. My release day is October 19th. So we are 19 days away. Today's October 1st. I'm going to try to release this as soon as possible. We are 19 days away from me getting my release. And honestly, looking back at this series of videos that I've done, I am so glad I committed to this, because sitting down here and talking about it and getting my thoughts together and having to really stay present with what I'm doing is helping me remember, oh shit, I need to do my exercises. Oh shit, I need to stay focused and stay present through this process, because I've gotten really busy these last 3 weeks and I haven't made a video, and my mind hasn't been as focused on, where's my tongue in my mouth. I've forgotten a few nights to do mouth taping at night and woken up with a dry mouth and realized, oh crap, that's I'm trying to tape every night and get correct breathing posture. And it's a long road. So I know that it's okay that I've gotten busy and I've kind of gotten off track these last few weeks. If you're watching this and you're preparing for a tongue tie, I really recommend that you find some way of documenting your process, whether that's writing in a journal, writing, having a writing practice where you connect to it, making your own videos. I'm not saying that you have to share and make it public, although that's great. I think the more people that know about this, the better. But just having some way that you check in with yourself about what's going on and what you're doing really helps make sure that you stay on track in your process. So let's just start with the basics. Why would you want to get additional therapy when you've already decided that you're going to go ahead and get tongue tie release? Well, first of all, there's people who just get the tongue tie release without doing orofacial myofunctional therapy, and that's a huge no-no. Most providers will tell you that's a red flag if you find a provider who's willing to cut without getting you in a myofunctional therapy program, which is basically pelvic therapy or physical therapy for your mouth and tongue. And there's specific goals with myofunctional therapy that help you not choke on your own tongue and have bad reactions basically to the surgery, like reattachment, or sometimes you can get more tightness, or your tongue doesn't really know what to do and it starts flapping around and can choke you. So you really want to make sure that you're doing myofunctional therapy as a minimum. I know that cost is a barrier to people. There's been some discussion about that in the tongue-tied Facebook group, the adults with tongue-tied Facebook group that I have a link to in the description. And if that's part of this for you, I would check those conversations out. But for those of you that are interested in doing everything you can, as I am, and have a little bit more time and financial resources to pour into that, which, just so you know, for me, it's about prioritization and understanding that these, and I talked about this in the last video about how to be a good, have positive healthcare experiences, but basically your treatments will be the cheapest they'll ever be right now. They will only get more expensive as you get more entrenched into certain muscular habits. So when I realized that, and when I realized how expensive surgeries are, especially bigger surgeries that you might need, like if your jaw's in a tense position for years and years and years and years and years, and you finally one day decide to get around to that, that might be a much more in-depth surgery because of the severity of your case, versus being able to work in complementary therapies that are often incredibly enjoyable. We're talking like massage and just like really great acupuncture and chiropractic, things that make you feel amazing immediately, not surgery, which puts you out for several weeks. That if you're going to do like a cost analysis comparison, it's actually cheaper to do these things than to wait and like go for bigger surgeries later down that you might need. And that had never become clear to me before this year. And I think that's where I'm like, all right, I'm going to prioritize what seems to be sort of expensive, like hundreds of dollars here and there and everywhere for going to see a craniosacral therapist, going to see a MyoFacial release specialist as a form of massage therapy, going to my acupuncturist, going to my chiropractor, getting Rolfing done, which is a form of massage or body work, just getting a massage, period. Going to pelvic floor physical therapy, which was actually covered by my insurance. But all of these things take time, all of these things take money, all of these things take resources. So there's also ways that, you, even watching this video and getting educated, that's taking advantage of resources that are free. And there are so many resources that are free, and there's so much benefit to really simple things like sitting down for 5 minutes in the morning and meditating with your tongue on the spot, or just simply breathing out of your nose consciously for 5 minutes with your eyes closed and tuning into how your body feels. And maybe that leads you into a session of stretching and doing a little bit of yoga, or taking a walk in the morning to like loosen and release your muscles. So yes, go see complementary therapists, and also they're not so critical that if you don't have the funds, you're going to miss out on everything. There are many things you can do at home. So I just want to like touch on that before I go into all the things that I've been doing. And some might say that I'm doing too much. It's been a lot. There's a reason why I'm like, haven't had time to make these videos. I had like 6 appointments last week. So basically the theme for me personally has been learning how to relax. So that's like everything that I'm doing is retraining my body to understand how to actually fucking relax. And there's a layer of proprioception that is going on with MyoFunctional Therapy and in preparation for tongue tie release that is super important. And that biofeedback of your own neurological understanding of what's happening in your body is like your golden ticket to shifting long-held tension patterns. Now, that might have been, I'm going to break that down. Knowing how you feel can help you change how you feel, put more simply. And I'm realizing that there are certain ways in which I've been very disconnected to how my body feels and how my body functions. So, and this is all a prelude to saying pelvic floor physical therapy, manual pelvic floor physical therapy, where someone is actually putting their hands inside of your vagina if you're female bodied, that is helping you perceive and connect to the muscles in a part of my body, and I think many people's bodies, that we disengage and like systematically ignore. Like here I am sitting at my desk where I sit most of the day. I'm engaged from here up, but how am I engaging from my pelvic floor down to the floor? I cross my legs frequently. That's not good for pelvic floor engagement. There's basically many ways in which over the years, like you could call it even societal conditioning, as a identify as a woman, that I'm supposed to be like smaller and frailer, and like not, if I flaunt myself too much and my sexuality too much, there's repercussions to that. And so then there's like hiding and shrinking, but now there's repercussions to that. which is this connection from that part of my body. So going to pelvic floor physical therapy is kind of my big aha moment within my tongue-tied journey of, it's not just my tongue, it's not just my mouth, it's all of my body. And specifically, the pelvic region and the mouth region are very, very connected. And I talk about this in the interview with Ryan that I'm going to release. And building strength and coordination and muscle tone and figuring out how to relax, I think are going to be really helpful for the jaw muscular relaxation that I've also been realizing is happening. So it's more normal for people to get things like MyoFacial work, so like getting work on the jaw, like TMJ massage basically, and acupuncture and chiropractic work that kind of centers on the neck and shoulders, which makes a lot of sense. You want like palate expansion, you want room up here to like accommodate the released tongue, you want strength in the muscles, so you want to like help them relax so they can like fully embody their strength. But the pelvic floor piece, that is new to some people, and I highly recommend checking that out. And that might just look like, I also mentioned briefly, and I'll go through, that I've been doing craniosacral therapy, which was amazing. I worked with Anasyua Basil in Chico, California. She's a friend of mine. I had never been on her table. She was wonderful. I'll show you her website, and I just highly recommend her. She is like really gifted at what she does. She's been doing healing work for many, many, many years. She knows her stuff, and it's hard sometimes to find really competent providers in the North State, especially. So if you're up in Northern California, check her out. There's probably craniosacral therapists where you live. I noticed in the tongue tie group there was a directory, so maybe I can post that in the link if you're looking for work near you. But you can just type in craniosacral therapist. I actually felt my palate expanding. It was a really incredible therapy. So craniosacral therapy basically works with the craniosacral fluid of the body, and the craniosacral fluid of the body has its own pulse system, kind of like the blood beats with the heart. And that pulse system, I believe it was, Anasyua shared with me that it's about like 6 waves per minute, depending, it varies. And that you can actually, through light touch, feel these light pulses. And it's a very sensitive type of work. It's not pushing anything. It's just very light touch in a very intentional way. So some people kind of think it's bullshit. I think they're bullshit. Because the feeling that you can get into when you're doing craniosacral therapy is as if you're floating in the ocean. And a lot of practitioners make this analogy of how it's kind of like our body's own internal ocean. And the wave pattern in the ocean is very similar to the wave pattern in the craniosacral fluid. It was really incredible. I never realized how powerful you can feel things shift on the table, even if it's very subtle. It was very subtle. But Anasyua put her fingers like, lightly. I have to push hard because of my angle, but very lightly. So she did work inside my mouth and actually felt the, there's 2 bones in the palate that come together, and she could feel where they were kind of moving. So the craniosacral fluid holds basically the bones in the head together, and it goes all the way down to the sacrum. And then through other kind of like channels, it's obviously connected to the whole body, but like I think the fluid itself goes down into the sacrum, up through the brain, through the spine, and up around the head, and in the like cranial cavities, basically. And by tuning into that fluid, you can allow expansion to happen within the bones. And that was really an incredible thing. So I get why craniosacral therapy is kind of most often paired with myofunctional therapy. Now, I also got MyoFacial Therapy, which is like a massage of fascial release. And it did a lot. It's commonly used with TMJ. And that has been really helpful. And the person that I found, Caitlin, I don't remember her last name, Caitlin at Prana Endura in Chico, has been an excellent provider to work with. I really like her massage. It's just got a good, she goes deep, but she doesn't go deep in a way that makes you tense. And I find that to be an issue that I have with a lot of massage therapists, is that I either just relax and don't feel like much happened, or I feel really tense and I feel like he discovered a lot of tension but wasn't able to help me really move it, because their method of moving it was making me tense and it was kind of too fast. So I've been really enjoying that. Rolfing is another thing I've talked about. It's structural integration. Rolfing is known for being very intense, so I have to take it in small doses, but it's very powerful work. Also working with the fascial layer, like MyoFacial Massage. And I'm doing this because it's kind of like, it just like pushes certain areas, and I found huge openings. I did a video, I'm not sure which video, about my experience with Rolfing. It was early on in this series. Going to the chiropractor, that's been really helpful, just like getting the little pops and like releases and allowing my nervous system to really come online. And I get off her table and I'm like charged up, and just feeling like that energy coming back into my body, where it can get really stuck if there's tightness and things happening and kinks in the spine. So highly recommend chiropractic. Acupuncture, I actually haven't been to see my acupuncturist this whole time, but I typically regularly go. Like, acupuncture is like my baseline, and all these other things have been added, and I feel like I just I'll keep on doing acupuncture, but I haven't had a chance to go back to acupuncture. But I highly recommend acupuncture. There's community acupunctures clinics all around the nation. I think it's like PCOA is the organization, the People's what is it called? People's Clinics of, I don't remember. And they have a map, and you can go to these like community clinics where it's usually sliding scale or donation-based care, and you're in a room, like a group setting. And those are a really great affordable way to reach high-level integrative complementary care. And yeah, I also just want to do a little plug, getting a sleep study as a complementary, like, it's not a therapy, but it's a really amazing diagnostic tool that can help you understand a picture of your sleep as it relates to your airway. And I had sleep apnea, and I didn't know. I have both kinds of sleep apnea, central and obstructive. And that was just like a really important kind of like side tangent in this whole process that I would just group in with these other things that I've been doing, because it was going to another office and getting more appointments. The reason for all these things is to help you learn how to relax, and help you learn where you hold tension, and work with providers and work with specialists to help you get that feedback, so you can understand your own body better, so you can really get the most out of myofunctional therapy and your tongue tie release, and allow the tongue to relax, to like have the space, the openness in your body to not contract back into like, the constricted state that it's in the tongue tie form, which happens. It's like normal that there's like an ebb and flow cycle of that. I've even seen, like, spoiler alert, with the interview with Ryan, we were 1 week out when I interviewed him, and he was just like on cloud 9. This is the best thing ever. I can't wait. And a lot of people have kind of a whiplash within a few days, and he wasn't experiencing that. And I just saw yesterday, he posted it was like day 13, he contracted again, and he was doing all these therapies. So even with all these therapies, even if you have like an amazing story of how great your tongue tie is, I would fully expect that there's going to be, just like the ocean, there's ups and downs, there's waves, and it comes in cycles. So it's a matter of like really riding that and understanding with each wave and with each cycle, coming into a deeper connection with your body, and coming into a deeper strength and coordination and muscle tone and proprioceptive understanding of what's going on, to just use these amazing vehicles that we have, our human bodies, to the best of our abilities. So thank you for watching my week 8, 9, and 10 update. I did look it up. And I'm so freaking excited that I have a date coming up on the 19th, given that I pass my there's like a checklist that I have to pass of my tongue tie therapy. And I'm so looking forward to meeting my release person. I know you're watching these videos. I can't wait to meet you, Dr. Robles. And it's been a pleasure working with Brooke, my MyoFunctional Therapy out of Dr. Robles's office in Chico, Loretta Robles DDS, who, just my experience so far with them has been that they are wonderful professionals, highly competent, highly caring, and dedicated to their patients. And the work that I've seen them do is really amazing, and I'm looking forward to having a wonderful release with them. Another side note, there's a California tongue tie group that I'm going to post this video in, because I've mentioned so many providers in California specifically. So just to note, there's the adult tongue tied Facebook group, and then there's this California Facebook group that I'm in. There are a lot of groups on Facebook that you can find. There are a lot of people helping make the information about tongue tie more accessible. That's what I'm trying to do here as well. But you're not alone. There's people here that can help you. There's providers that do myofunctional therapy completely online, so you don't have to go. I've seen a lot of people lately saying, I'm 3 hours away from somebody and I'm driving 3 hours every 2 weeks to go get my myofunctional therapy. Like, I live 30 minutes from my office and I'm doing them all online even. And I could have found one that was 100% online that was going to coordinate with a surgeon near me to do the actual release. So there's so many different options, as we just learned when it comes to complementary care, but even within the actual getting your tongue tie release. So yeah, if you're just watching this and your head is spinning on all the options, take a second to digest everything and know that there are people out here that really can help you. And yeah, I look forward to seeing how these videos that I'm making ripple out and really help make sure that people understand the whole process and see it in the full way.